These are conversations that we would essentially have with our kids. Because personally, I know my mom would never talk to me about things like love or sex or, but I am willing
to do that with your kids.
So I feel like if you're willing to have this kind of sensitive conversations with kids, then they know from when they're young that it's possible for you to like someone of the same sex, or for you to have a certain habit and you're not abnormal.
TrendyOnTopics. But at what age would you bring it up? Would you start talking about it?
I think that as early as 4, but not at talking to a child at 4 about sex.
You
get like talking to a child but with age appropriate language. Like at 4, of course, you'll be like, there's I don't know, a banana and there's a peach. So and then it will transition
that's on the wall.
Yeah, so so you'll transition from that language to now when like you understand that I have this, or when askers were told to do that, I do that, or what, so from that kind of language to
being straight up about it.
To being straight up when they're teenagers, because we also don't know, will the age of consent drop, because you see, as much as we want to say, they're not old enough to understand, it's happening. I think sex education would be the solution, not having a conversation of 18 or 16, but if we had sex education, then and it's it's been cultured everywhere, not just in modern schools or private schools, but like it's a norm in Kenya, and after kids in Turkana, Garissa, whatever parts, but like marginalized groups, when they have this sex education, do they understand now what they're getting into? Because I feel like from home we're told, and personally even from the way I've been brought up, don't do it. But people don't understand, like teenagers don't understand, why are you saying don't do it?
So what if sex education be brought in high schools, primary, or like it is, let's say in your you study HIV and AIDS?
I as a man, now from talking from the other side, but from the other point of view, as a boy child, there's so much, blame on the boy child. But our men, are they being taught, our boys, are they being taught that,
how to treat
a woman, how to live with a girl next to you? Even if you have these feelings, can you express them? And once you're rejected, now that's another thing. Once you're rejected, are you able to handle that rejection? So I feel like even if we're willing to talk about sex, are we willing to talk about relations that lead to sex? Because sex just doesn't happen. You have to have some, initial thoughts, and then, so that's what I think.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
Wow.
What do
that's
you think?
really cool. What do you think?
I feel like so many, you ask people so many questions, but
I don't get
people don't ask you. What do you think? What do you think about age of consent? What do you think about sex education?
Well,
what's your opinion?
I also agree it should be brought in primary, because I think it's especially from class 6, that's a better age, because that's when you even start being taught about reproductive organs and exactly all that, so that kid is ready. But you saying 4, I don't know, I think like 4 is too young.
But you see, they have private parts, you get, and you're not talking to them about sex, you're talking to them about what they have. So they need to understand, okay, if I touch myself here, or am I aware that this part is not my hand, this part is my private part? You see, such stuff, the introduction of it, not that you're going to start telling them when mommy and daddy, I mean, at that age, they think kids are bought from the supermarket. So when I say talk to them from 4, I mean, do they understand, because you can't just bring up the issue of sex. Sex takes parts for it to take place. You get, as much as the emotional aspect, you have to have the physical before you get to the emotional. You get, you have to have the bare minimum, which is whether small, big, whatever. You have to have the bare minimum, which is the physical. So do they understand I have a part? So at 4, they should 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They should understand I have these parts. Fine. And then now you'll transition from I have these parts. So these parts, if I touch them, they will make me feel like this. And then once I feel like this, and someone of the opposite sex is brought, then we will feel like this. So it went from I have to we feel, and then we indulge. You get? That's what I'm telling you. So even if it starts at 4, for me personally, okay, this is just my view, and you don't even have to agree with me. But if I was to parent anyone, I would start from the way I'm telling you. I feel, we feel, and then we indulge. You get? So that it's not like you introduce something that how does it take place? Man and woman, fine, or girl and boy, fine. But how did it lead to that? Because I have this part, and if I touch it on my own, I will feel like this. But if someone else is brought in a situation that is sexualized, we will feel like this, then we will indulge. You get?
But should we introduce, I think that's kind of related to sexuality in a way, because let's say because we are heterosexual, we'll say that if I get a boy, clearly I'm going to tell him how to be a man and how to date girls and all that. But should we also introduce the topic of sexuality to kids at a young age, meaning you can like whoever you like and that's okay, or you let them just get into it, figure out for themselves?
That's hard. I don't know. Would I be willing? Like, you know, I can say let's introduce, but I don't know if I would advocate for you pick the gender you want. I would go by it. I think that one, I'll just be a bit traditional and let them decide what works for them.
Figure themselves out.
Because obviously, I mean, at a certain age, maybe 3 there, they'll understand I'm a girl. But I don't know if I'm willing to talk about, bisexual,
heterosexual. It's okay. And on the thought about getting kids, or this is what happens, and then like the result of sex when you're maybe introducing it to kids, what do you think about sperm donations, all that other side? Because I was having
what's this called, surrogacy.
That. What do you think about that?
I feel like it will take a bit of time before it's accepted, especially in like an African society like ours. But
your opinion
on it? Would I? Okay, but you see, that's very general. Would I do it, or would I?
No, what do you think about it? Because recently I learned some other side of it that wasn't really amusing. The fact that, let's say, if you want a kid, you'll be like, I want a South African, athletic, smart. You see, like you're giving all these details about the perfect child you're trying to create. And there are some labs that actually do this for people. So I think there's a right that just came out recently, preventing people from being so specific. Because like when you're having a child,
so trying to find the imperfect perfect human.
Exactly.
Because we're all flawed in our own ways.
Exactly.
I think, okay, this is just my opinion. But I think it's very circumstantial, because there are some people who can't, of course, conceive, and they do need that help, and they would want not a perfect child, but they would want the bare minimum, just a child, whether male or female. So it's based on circumstance, and I would wish to have a certain stand on it, but I'm open-minded to the sense of there are some couples that really struggle with having the lady conceive. But in that way, since they can't for one reason or the other, and then again, we're in a modern world where diets are different, bodies are different, so we can't stereotype and say, you see, in the olden days, it never used to happen. But you see, there's a change in lifestyle. So I feel like for the couples that genuinely just want to get a child, then that's I mean, for me, that's okay. But what I wouldn't be okay with, or what wouldn't sit right with me, is the aspect of trying to find this imperfect human. Because you see, yes, you'll get that child. You'll get a child who has blue eyes. You'll get a child who is either light skin, dark skin, whatever complexion that they are. But you see, they are human at the end of the day, and they are bound to be flawed. So if you raise a child with this aspect of, we actually, because at some point they will get to know that I didn't come out from mom, I came from someone else. But it's mom and dad's, physical, their reproductive fluids that I came to be. But you see, there's that perception of I was made to be this perfect, and then but in my character I'm not. I'm not like this. I'm
not.
So you as the parent, you create this perfect, you model, you envision this perfect human, but what people would say per ground, I mean, no one's perfect. So this child maybe will be not smart at all. You went for this Caucasian, you went for this nationality or this type of color of eyes, or you've mixed the genes in a way that will give you a certain result, but essentially this human growing up is flawed. So I feel like in one way or another it creates that that effect to the child that mom and dad modeled me, but I'm not really who they expected. You see, it raises an expectation of I should be, let's say they wanted
it's just even pressure on the kid.
There's that pressure. Well, it's not said, but some things are unsaid. But that's, for me, that's what I think. We wouldn't know how couples experience that, and even those who choose the blue eyes or whatever color, whatever complexion, we don't really know what their families go through. So at the end of the day, even if I have a certain stand, I only speak from the external.
It's okay. I think I might agree with that whole process, because let's say personally, if I don't want to get my own kid, because let's say I don't want to have the sickle cell gene into them, I'll be like, let me get a kid who's, let's say, dark skin the same way I am, but just from a different, doesn't have that gene in them. So, but all the other stuff of the blue eyes and all that, it just scared me. So I was like, oh, people really do this. But the whole thing makes sense. That's what I think.
So at the end of the day, there is that pressure.
Well,
you can be beautiful or good for the couple, but there is that pressure to the individual as they grow up. That I was created to be like this, so maybe they envisioned a model, a certain figure, but I'm not living to that expectation. So that's what I think.
Nice. Now, going back to that whole church thing we're talking about when you started, there's you said you're Catholic and you're also open-minded to these other ideas of other, what's the name of other churches? Denominations. Exactly.
Within Christianity.
I tried to go to PCEA, like I think I've even been doing it for 1 year, and it's really, personally I find it more entertaining than being in a mass. The whole thing, it's really fun, and I think even the ones who facilitate the whole thing make you really understand the Bible from our perspective. Why do you think the Catholic Church is so flawed to that extent where it's kind of stuck in the olden days?
I think you see how other churches are willing to adjust how they conduct their services with a way that will suit all groups. In that way, like you find Protestants or other denominations basically have like the youth service, maybe for the parent service, something like that. They're willing to adjust according to society right now. How is it right now? And in that way they're accommodative. I feel like, well, I might have some sense of bias, but I feel like the Catholic Church has stuck to the
roots
doctrines
and
of
everything.
the olden doctrines, such that whatever was in the Roman Church at those ages is still supposed to be the gospel truth today. Now with that comes the controversy that is created. So we're not going to talk about LGBTQ in church. We're not going to talk about
the funny thing is the Pope actually accepted.
Yes, exactly. So you see, but before the Pope spoke about it, I don't think there's another Catholic religious figure that has ever spoken about it. I think that it's amazing that our Pope is in touch with what is happening, because even if we don't want to talk about it, even if we want to glorify the aspect of no sex before marriage, or within the marriage you cannot cheat, because if you cheat you're sinning,
even divorce.
So you see, at the end of the day, it's not in touch with reality, because we are sinners and we are all flawed. Even, I'm so sorry to say, but even the ones preaching the gospel to us and making us understand the sermon are not perfectly,
even Catholic church has so many conspiracies,
are not perfectly in touch with their body, mind and soul in a way that they cannot, look at another person and feel like, okay, I feel some type of way. So you see, speaking from a sinner's point of view to another sinner, and that's, I feel like that's where the difference comes in, is other churches.
Do you think,
I'm not trying to throw shade or anything.
It's okay.
But other churches are in touch with the aspect of we are all sinners. But now as sinners, from someone who is
how
in touch with...
How can we work to be better? How we can work to be better?
I would say that the aspect of like bringing reality within the church. Reality, I mean by what is happening. Maybe their mental health conversations. I don't know if you know this, but if you commit suicide, the Catholic Church won't bury you.
Wallahi.
Yeah, so if you die, well, I've not done research about it, but I've heard of it. So to answer your question, I think that the introduction or the acceptance of what is happening in reality is the solution. Before we can talk about praise and worship, because these are things that will come eventually after we're willing to accept. We're all flawed. Even those who are preaching the gospel truth to us, we're all flawed. So in our flaws, are we willing to bring these conversations to church? Are we willing to talk about, because in the masses I've been to, the few times that controversial topics have been addressed, it's a very olden, or just basically what was said kitambo is being said now. You see, so I think...
Should monks be the religious leaders? Monks are so perfect-ish. Like, those guys are really connected. That's how I've seen. Or maybe it's the internet lying. So should priests be like monks? Because they're just like us. Personally, I see as if there are so many things that don't ever make sense. Like, you'll see a priest, though they're supposed to be dedicated to the church, they're still working and they're still doing all these other things, and that's
especially the ones today, because they're not like Akina Cardinal Lutunga and the saintly figure. I think the day by day the saintly figure it becomes less and less.
Do you agree with that, or do you agree with the whole we should treat these days really special, we should, whatever they say is what we accept?
I feel like, okay, that's a hard question, but I feel like no group should be like the other, but for me, it's just my opinion, I feel like they should be, in my honest opinion, they should be allowed to do things that the average human being would do. I'm not so invested in agreeing with the aspect of priesthood and choosing not to marry or have a family, because I feel like they're just human beings like us, and if they're just human beings like us, why should they not? And by having a family, that doesn't mean you'll neglect your religion, you see,
or even your duties specifically.
And then even if someone would would dispute and be like, no, but you see, Hillie, that they've chosen to give their life to God. But you can choose to still be in touch with God, with that companionship, and it's known. You see, these things still happen, but they're not put in the media. They are not put out there. But there are some cases that even you know of, that even we could Google or look up in the internet, and you find that some priests within Nukotu where they stay have their own,
they have families,
but they're not put out there or put in the media. So I feel like it's not for them. I think so many times we glorify that image that we stop to think that, okay, these guys are just human beings like us. Just that they were so in touch with that religious aspect that they chose not to be like us, who would wish to have other aspects like marriage, dating, sex, all that. But that doesn't mean that they don't feel it, even if it's not said. It's not that they don't feel it,
Well, that's a good side. That's the side that I think most of us would agree to. But now here's another question to the other side of it. You've heard of the stories about priests, or maybe pastors taking advantage of congregant members to take their money, in that the congregation is supporting the priest, you see. So is that, I personally agree with the idea of them also working, them also doing all these things, but I also came to learn that some of these churches, now let's say from donations,
commercialize the whole aspect of religion.
Exactly.
I feel like that maybe first understand or both agree that it's not just the Catholic Church, but it's churches in general. Right now, I feel like we can't pinpoint one church and be like, I think the Catholic Church is commercializing, because you go to the other side without even mentioning names, and look at what they're doing, the whole aspect of like pay bill number, but you're not sure of what you're giving. But so in that way, it's not just one particular church that has commercialized the aspect of religion, but all, you know. So in that way, I feel like, I don't know if it happens. I'm not well equipped with you know the whatever goes on once you become a priest. But I feel like they should also go through training, and even as they preach, what are they preaching? And even as they ask for assistance, is there someone who will stop to you know counter check that this money is going to the right places? So, because you know, even when we give offertory or tithe, you know, I assume it's the priests who, you know, allocate the funds to go here, the funds there. I mean, they sit in a board within themselves. But is it possible to have someone who someone externally from away from the church, and an external organization or a person, but from the outside to come and account for what is going on? Hold them accountable, because like we both said, these are human beings. And fine, they're religious, but they're flawed.
Do you think people are taking religion as a joke in the country? Going back to, you see, that whole topic of, let's say, people commercializing churches, and now how you might get into some church. I don't know if you saw this video. I'm not sure I have it here, but there's this video on Twitter. This pastor and some of his members, they were, you see, like how people fall and then they just start doing some crazy things. These guys were intentionally doing this to
make. I think I know which pastor you're talking about. So your question?
What do you think people are taking religion as a joke here? Even looking at gospel artists and the type of things they are making.
I think that religion and faith is a personal journey. So maybe instead of saying it's a joke to people right now, I would say that people are manipulating it as a concept. Like, even when I say I'm Christian, am I really Christian, or is it that I'm hypocritically saying that so that I can sell a certain image to you? And that goes to our gospel artists, because I feel like they sell a certain image, well, just to do it for the fame and for the money, of course. But is it
deceiving their members, the people who believe in them, and all that?
Because you find, without mentioning names, there are some gospel artists who today will sing about, you know,
quite a number of things.
Quite a number of things that are very controversial, and then behind closed doors they do these things. Maybe a certain singer will sing about we shouldn't take alcohol, we shouldn't smoke, whatever it is people are smoking, and then behind closed doors they do the exact opposite. So I feel in that way it's not really a joke to them, but they're selling something that they're not. They're not their true selves.
They're using it.
They're using it as, you know, a commercial thing to benefit financially, but they're not selling their true selves. They're not showing you their true selves.
Have you seen this in politics? I don't know if I should. Have you seen this with the DP? Do you because personally, I'm always watchful on the news and all the things that happen. But this guy just recently, like Juicy too, I think a few months ago, Kenyans during this with these IPOA things that they do, they termed him the most corrupt person in the country. That was even shown.
But on the other side, we see him and praying,
and he's saying all this Mungu CG stuff when he's talking to people.
So it beats logic. Do A and act Z, or act Z and do A, or preach A. I feel like that's just what I was saying. That there is, yes, religion is there, but so many people nowadays sell hypocrisy. Not their true faith, not who they really are. Because Rafa, I could come today and tell you, I'm very religious. I can tell you, I go to church, I read the Bible, can we pray? But when you see, I'm selling, once I tell you, can we pray, can we share this, can we do that, well, religiously inclined, behind closed doors, am I really doing it? But I've sold a certain image to you, because you'll be like, wow, hey, this guy has told me, let's do this. So you have a certain perception of me. I feel like nowadays religion is used, and faith in general, and spirituality is used to sell an image. You get? So for us who are willing to question it, we see that deep down it's not really what it is. But you see, for those who are in uko mashinani, I'd assume that when they hear that, okay, this leader has stolen, has shot someone, has is doing all the wrong things,
and then they
and then they come for a rally and they want to pray, so you see, someone who is in mashinani will be like, okay, wacha tumsamehe. Unajua sisi wote ni binadamu, tunafanya makosa.
But it's a public stand.
So in that way, it's a public stand. You see, they've sold the image that yes, they are flawed and they're doing all these wrong things. But I'm so sorry. I'm trying to pray.
I'm innocent.
I'm innocent. Can we pray? Can we kneel down? But at the end of the day, after we kneel down together, thinking that we're on the same page, the leader will go back into their Prado and live that life that they truly, are invested in.
Themselves.
But Mimi, who came for the rally or for whatever it is, or the campaign or the meeting, political meeting, I will have this idea at the end of the day that, okay, this is someone who understands. Huyu ni mtu ambaye anaelewa matatizo, and so they sell an image, and by selling an image, a perception is formed. So we understand that even if you talk to a shosho, a buka, an auntie, or an uncle in Ushago, or just basically not in urban areas, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They will tell you that, okay, unajua anaiba, or like a certain individual will be like, alimshoot, alimpiga risasi, but anajaribu ku, he helped, he donated wheelchairs the other day. Kwa hivyo anasikia vibaya, wacha tusimuone hivyo. So you see, we choose to look at the little things they do for publicity. Because I'm a believer of it's possible for our leaders to act and not segment it, or not, like, you see, there's the aspect of Juicy, okay, not Juicy, but like within quarantine, from the start to right now, there are female leaders who have been giving out sanitary pads with their picture, their image. For what? For the way people say, for why? Because if it's truly to help people of your gender, then and people who are your daughters, because our female leaders are old enough to be our mothers, our aunties. If you're really doing it to help the girl child, why do you need to put it on the packet? Why do you need to glorify yourself in that act of quote unquote charity? You see? So I feel like so many of our leaders, male, female, do it for publicity, sell that image for publicity, and in that way remain relevant to us. Maybe us who are in urban areas are able to question, because we have this intellectual conversations where we're like, okay, this person looks, imperfectly perfect to us, but why, can we question that? And in that way, we're able to make a decisive thought on, okay, I think this leader is presenting this image, but it's not really, the right person for us. But is this person in Ushago, this person who doesn't get the same information that we get, first-hand information, are they willing to have these conversations?
True.
See, so...
Do you think Kenyans are just gullible, or are we too forgiving? Because I had this interview with Njomo and he was like, we are just gullible. Yeah, what do you think? Why do you think we are willing to, like, we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
People will see all this. People will call these people the most corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they're the same people going to vote for them.
Yeah. I feel like Kenyans choose to ignore. Even as they forgive, they choose to ignore.
Yeah.
Like today, we'll talk about, or like a few months ago, we were talking about Babu. We were so mad.
Yeah.
Everyone, CG hashtag. I personally I went on and on about it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, today we're talking about Babu and DJ Evolve. It's like we forgot. It's like the hashtag stopped trending. Let's move on to the next person. Let's speak on the next person. And then after that, let's forget. Let's forget that Guru stole this fans. Let's forget that shot someone and it wasn't right.
Are we forgetful or ignorant?
We are ignorant. We're not forgetful because it's at the back of our minds, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't care because we've transitioned from, you see how a child was for the community, now everyone is for themselves. If Babu Wino can steal, kill, whatever he wants to do, but me at the end of the day, I'm getting my 4 million, my 5 million, I'm prospering in my own career, in my own life, then why should I give, too about it, So I feel in that way we are selfish because there are people right now who've told me, Hillie, I won't vote. Who is that to vote for?
Yeah.
Fine, okay. There is no one to vote for, but you see, at the end of the day, we can't just say, I won't vote because there's no one to vote for.
Yeah.
Are we willing to have that conversation? Even if we don't have the perfect leader, who among them can sit in that position and at least try and deliver something rather than nothing?
True.
You see, so even those who say, I won't vote, it beats logic because who will vote? Who will
and
remove
also,
that?
The thing with you saying you're not going to vote just gives another person the right to put in their wrong leader. You see, someone who's been paid off or someone who has their own reasons to vote in someone. So your vote doesn't end up even beating theirs. And
also there is those who say they won't vote. Then there are those who refuse to have these conversations because they seem controversial. Like how many of us, myself included, when we go for like extended family meetings, are willing to talk about politics and air their true views. How many people are willing to say, for example, I don't support Raila, or I don't support Uhuru, or I don't support Uhuru and maybe I'm Kikuyu. You see, it seems like So another thing that maybe would just leave in our minds, a rhetorical question would be, are we willing to have conversations away from the aspect of tribalism?
Exactly.
And
because politics is so tribalistic.
I feel like I've never really seen an individual come out and say, well, I think there are, but not many. Say like you can't be Luo and not support a certain leader, or you can't be Kikuyu and feel like, you know what, Uhuru is not doing it. It's not it for us. We need someone beyond our ethnicity who is doing the job for us. It's not about this group is the largest in Kenya, so if we would have a national leader of this ethnicity, then he would do the job for us. I feel like it's about the competency, not the ethnicity. That's what I think.
Do you think, how long do you think it can take for us to get there? For us to, let's say, because I'm from Bungoma, I'm willing to elect someone from Machakos as president. Because I'm looking at, this guy is a good leader, honestly he is. And me, I'm willing to do it. Like now in Mashinani, where someone wouldn't really agree with what I'm saying. They'll be like, me nataka.
In fact, they would fight with us with the kind of opinions that we have. I feel like, well, definitely not 2022 because it's just literally knocking at our door here. But maybe in 10 years, we would be willing to have the conversation. But I feel like just having the conversation, can we talk about politics? And I don't need to fight you. You're my brother, I'm Kikuyu or I'm Luo and you are, of another tribe. Or I'm Costarian or whatever I am, I'm Taita and you're this, but we have different views, but we can sit together and talk and not fight or feel like, we have to fight, we have to get emotional about it. I think just having the conversation.
Up the topic of tribe.
Yes, transitioning from not talking about it or ignoring it to now having the conversation is a step forward.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit slow, but it's a step forward.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Nice.
So I would say, give us maybe like
10 years.
10 years.
10 years max. I think most of people our age will be working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then the youth dominate Kenya.
Yeah. By that time.
So if we're able to have the youth have a voice, whatever voice it is, of course we can't all have the same voice.
Yeah.
Because in that way, that's like saying all the youth in Kenya to support one leader or one person.
Yeah.
It's not about the person, it's about the concept.
Yeah.
The concept of voting. What as me kama kijana wa Kenya, what do I know about voting? What do I know about talk about politics? Am I even in touch with politics in Kenya? Because I feel like also people in urban areas, they're not interested. Like we can talk about Khalid, we can talk about
love, sex relationships.
Sex relationships, and we will talk. But talk about politics.
I don't even watch news. You hear that?
And I know people, unfortunately, who don't even know some of the national leaders. Someone living in Nairobi, or relatively our age, doesn't know who Raila is, and it sounds absurd when I say it, but they are there. Whether they're of this community or that community, there are people who in this town, in this city, even in other cities like Mombasa,
Kisumu, all the way.
That it's like they live in their own bubble. So are we able to transition from that aspect of like people living in these bubbles? Are we all able to have a conversation or be in touch with our environment? Because I think that's important.
It is. And now talking about COVID-19, because I'm even checking how our numbers are right now. Why do you think people don't even care about COVID-19 numbers in Kenya right now? Because it's like life went back to normal, everything is the same, and someone will be like, because I don't even watch news, I don't know where we are right now. And this thing is saying we are at 37,000. Do you think the numbers are being exaggerated? Do you think there's a whole other plot? Or what do you think with that? Because there's been politics coming around COVID-19 now.
I think that, well, there are different dynamics to it. But, like we said, for initially, for what were we talking about? Politics in the aspect of Kenyans. We're not forgiving, we're ignorant. So in the same way, COVID has come, it's here with us, but we choose to ignore that it could still get me. Even if this is my homie, I can sit with him and I can
still get it from him.
You see, we often feel like, okay, because I know this person, they're my friend, I don't know why we think that they can't give us COVID, or they can't give us a certain health problem because we know them. We assume that we know them so much so that we even know their health. So it's we come from a point of ignorance. About the statistics for
37
COVID.
right now.
I don't know, there's this perception that the government only tells us a certain number, but it's not the true value. So I wouldn't really know, because I've never been in a position of power to know, is it really, like, is that true? It's just a myth?
Well,
I don't know.
Njomo said that the reason why the numbers have reduced is because less samples are being done. Like when we were having cases like even close to 1,800 cases a day, more samples were being done. But it's just the samples that have reduced, and that's what you're being fed on the media.
And also, our Kenyans are able to afford these things, because you could have it, but
afford doing the test.
Afford doing the test. You see, you'd rather stick with your bare minimum salary or pay, or just that kibarua that you have, and feed your family, feed yourself, pay your rent, and then with the extra, maybe think of COVID, a COVID test. But if you can't afford, then you'd rather die with it,
Well, I don't even understand why they price it, why it's even charged for you to get a test.
And these are things that will essentially help the country to grow or find solutions. I think it's a scheme in itself, because even like the way there was this article, and which was spotlighted on TV.
Yeah.
That the COVID millionaires.
Yeah, COVID millionaires.
You see, so I feel like it's all part of a scheme because for as long as we get financial aid from powerful nations, then they will need this money to steal and to share among themselves. And also I think there's a lot of hypocrisy that goes with this whole season.
Yeah.
Because why would we close bars at a certain time, as if COVID appears from 9 to 4 a.m.
Right? 9 to 4
and then 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. And then assume that because when they have their political rallies,
BBI.
it's like during the day it's not there. So actually
inakuja usiku.
So it's selfish.
Quite selfish.
It's a scheme in the sense that how can we not have concerts but we can have rallies? Isn't it like preaching water and drinking wine? Because
precisely
okay, there's no social distancing. There is even like when flights started opening and airlines were open to carrying people, you go to the airport and even the stands, people are not when they're there to show for publicity again. Like there are stands where ICG they've been spaced, but is there someone to ensure that people are actually 1.5 or 1 meter apart? No,
it doesn't.
So I could be next to my brother here, but we're not keeping any distance.
Social distance.
Exactly. So I feel like it's hypocritical.
Now, there's also a vaccine that has come out, and it's saying that COVID-19 vaccine trials and 40 Kenyans volunteer to take part in human trials. Do you what do you think about this?
Can we have it tested on our leaders? That would be the best.
Right?
So
that we
starting
know.
with Uhuru. If we have it on him.
He was in course just the other day.
And
that thing was so funny.
I think that I would only believe if I saw a national leader taking the test and then actually be okay. But as is our society and just being Kenyan, you'll notice that they would expect the individuals to come from like slums or mashinani and volunteer themselves because what do they have as compared to now
them
the big wigs of this country? So I would believe in it if I actually saw a public figure, especially a political figure, take it and then be normal and okay. So tuanze na wao,
I get you. This was actually supposed to be the first question, but since we just started rolling,
we started the whole
time. So like the thing that I didn't do is I just didn't do an introduction. But welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you.
Because we are still rolling. So I'm just saying welcome.
So I wanted to ask you, like, are we recording? But I was like, okay, so if we're recording, how will you cut that part?
We've been recording. I think from some of the episodes I've been shooting, I like it being just natural.
Just natural.
You see.
So. And also, if the person you've invited is nervous, the way I was feeling like, so what are we talking about?
You're able to chill even faster.
So in that way, you give out your true opinion.
Exactly.
Because it's not scripted.
It's not scripted. It's just what you think. Now, the first question I wanted to talk to you about is, let me pass you the laptop. There's this issue about, I think it was a Form 2 boyfriend killed by this Class 6 girlfriend.
Class 6 girl.
What do you think about that? The question was, what do you think should be the right age gap between people? Going back to the first thing we were talking about.
In terms of dating and relationships. I think we've been brought up knowing that sometimes too old can be wrong. Okay, we've been brought up knowing this is right and this is wrong. But
on the question of too old, what's even too old? Because that's now the question of the age gap now.
I think for me, personally, I think beyond I think 10 years, it's a bit too old for me. But I think to each its own. What's right to you could be wrong to me, or what's wrong to me could be right to you. I have extended family members who are in successful marriages and they're 30 years apart.
Wow.
and they're 30 years apart.
It's happened with people older than
I don't want to mention which member of the family, but I come from a family where just one marriage. I can identify with one marriage where the husband and wife, she's 30 years younger than than the husband. But you see, it's working for them.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to take it like this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
If a guy is 20 years older than me, and even if he loves me and cares for me and is the perfect one for me, because he's older, way older than me, then I shouldn't. He's not the one. Maybe I should go for someone younger.
Yeah.
I think.
But it was like more in the perspective of our age right now. Let's say I'm 20.
Within dating. Teenagers and post-teens. Like high school students and that transition group. Primary to. Okay, I would say that it's important to date someone who can relate to you. And can relate to the stage you're at. As a teen, post-teen. So I would advocate for maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 max.
I get you.
At that stage. But you see, things change.
Things do
and
change.
Just like that case of the class 6, that's right to them because they think, oh my god. I think even that would be maybe even on the extreme end where the girl feels like, okay, this guy is way older. But you see, that's right. And then it will get to a point, this class 6 girl will go to uni and she'll find other people who are maybe older. I mean, these things are there. You'll finish primary, you'll finish high school, you'll finish uni, and then you'll meet someone and they're way older, but you're in touch with them physically, emotionally, and they're not really your age, but they respect you. So with that connection, you're able to choose them. You get. So I feel like for a certain age, then something would be appropriate, but then with the open-mindedness of like, you know, you'll get to another stage in life when these things don't matter, because for Raf and me, for Hillie and Raf, we'll feel like, okay, if this shorty is like 18 and she's with a guy who's, you know, 30, that's wrong. Like we'll be like, hey, your guy is 30. You know, it's a big deal for us. But I look at people who are 35 and they're with like 45.
That makes sense from that point.
But you see, it's in stages.
Exactly.
So it's progressive. Now it matters. Then at some point, age won't even matter. You see, like how in primary, I don't know if you experienced this, but like in primary, I remember our teachers used to tell the guys, don't even look at these girls. Your wives are still not even born. They're still in baby class. And then you'd feel like, hey, that's too young. Me, I want the girl seated next to me over there. Or me, I want this guy seated, you know, in my bio class. Or in my science class, you know. So we feel like we're in touch with each other because we're growing together. And as much as we glorify the way let's grow together, it's not for everyone. Not everyone grows together. There are some people who make it and then find someone. And then there are some people who grow together. So to each its own.
That makes so much sense. I agree with you because there's another guest also. We're having the same topic, same conversation, and she was like 2 to 4 makes sense. Like let's say from
for teens and post-teens.
For teens and post-teens, 2 to 4 is what makes most sense. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. So what do you think, like how did you feel about that whole story of this class 6 and the form 2 though?
I feel it's sad, and people will stop and blame the girl, and then apart from blaming the girl, we blame the parents for not maybe parenting her enough and telling her at that age she shouldn't date. But the buck stops with also, how are these kids brought up? Do they understand that even if I'm in a relationship, a girl can accept rejection and move on, a guy can accept rejection and move on? So we can blame the girl and ask, why did she kill this guy? You know, women are trash, men are trash. But are women and men trash if they didn't grow up knowing and being taught these things? There's no manual to how we should date. We watch movies and feel like, okay, so in High School Musical I saw Troy and Gabriella singing and dancing in the rain, so I feel like, you know, that's what me and my boyfriend should be doing.
That's a perfect love.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But there's no manual to like, okay, I've watched it in movies, so I think that if they could do this, then maybe we can be swinging on trees and singing to each other. But kwa ground, I mean, you know. So I feel like instead of blaming one person or the other person, or being like the boy should never have engaged with a girl that young, maybe he should have gone with someone in high school. He should have got with someone in high school. I feel like instead of putting the blame on making it a blame game, we should make it like this has happened.
How can
and
we
it's
do
sad,
to prevent?
but what can we do? You know, instead of having the blame game, can we form a solution for these things? And what's the solution? Talking to these kids who are relatively young but are getting into this stage in life where they're in touch with their bodies and emotions. That I'm in class 6, I'm in class 5, I will start to like this other guy because I produce certain hormones and he also produces these hormones, and we feel some type of way together. But if it doesn't work out, it's okay. If he rejects me, okay. If I ask him out and he rejects me,
and this is the proper way to deal with that.
And this is the proper way to deal with that. I can channel my anger instead of, you know, taking away his life or hurting him or emotionally abusing him or physically. Instead of doing that, I can decide to channel my energies into sports, into, you know, something that I'm passionate about. And in that way, use this time as I'm growing as an adolescent to grow myself, to be in touch with myself. And then now, see, like how people say, when two people come together, they pour in themselves and then to form a cup of whatever they have. So in that way, personally, I think that you should be full, and the other person, as Hillie, I should be full, and my significant other should be full, and together we'll pour out our individual selves into this cup. But I feel like society has brought this aspect of, if you're single, you're lonely, and you're half broken, and the guy's half broken, so we pour into our broken, like, me, I'll contribute this, and you'll contribute this, and together we have our brokenness together, but we'll make it look like, you know, it's this perfect thing. So in that way, it's okay to be broken, and you're broken. Together we're broken. Let's be broken together. No, I think that it's important to deal with yourself as an individual, but by the time you're getting into a relationship, you're your own person.
True.
And that goes to the point of, I think, us girls, us shorties, whenever we get into relationships, and this is something I've gone through, so it's not like I'm talking like, oh, I'm like, you know, I'm somewhere in this world and I'm observing. I've gone through it, and I've seen that right from even dating at class 6, class 7, class 8, or in high school, or after high school, we fixate the idea of a future so much so that when I, as Hillie, at this now, let's say I'm 16. At 16, I've already planned we're moving into our house. You see, our house. We're buying our car, our dream car. And all these images formed in my mind have come from what I've watched, what I've read, what I've listened to in songs. You see, so it's again our environment. We've been made to think that love is this perfect thing. I come in with my brokenness, it's okay. And you come in with your brokenness, and together we form a whole thing from that brokenness. But I should be an individual. I should be in a relationship, even as a teenager, but be my own person. What do I want? You see, I feel like young girls, like, let's say you get into a relationship as a young girl, but even men, even boys, they go through these things. Let's say your girl wants to do you meet your crush, you fall in love with your crush, she falls in love with you, what we assume love is, and then you start talking about conversations of the future, like, I want to go to this high school. Maybe your boyfriend wants to go to a public school or a day school, and you want to go to a boarding school. and that has always been your dream, to go to this boarding school, maybe to go to this alliance, Kenya, whatever it is. So you will change, you will adjust your future plans to suit the other person. When you forget, at the end of the day,
it's your life.
I am my own person before I am a partner. So I feel like it's important for parents or guardians or
for them,
whoever is responsible for that teenager to have these conversations, because it's important. It's happening. Even if we say let's not have it, it is happening, whether we like it or not.
You also mentioned how, let's say, social media. I don't know if you watched The Social Dilemma.
No, I haven't. I really want to watch it.
Now it's talking about how social media is influencing us and how there's a different market and a different world kind of that we don't know about. And you talked about how we might be influenced by what we watch on the media and social media. Do you think there's a way that content is kind of being sexualized and put in a certain way than how we can actually, or how things are?
I would say yes. Because even look at the way cartoons are nowadays.
Yeah. Cartoons are written by grown-ups for kids. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, even in the past it was like that. But I feel it's like everything nowadays is sexualized. And it's made to look like it's the ultimate, it's the ultimate thing in life. To get that form of pleasure, to get that form of, I don't know how to put it, but like to be in touch with another human, so much so that, it's such an amazing feeling.
It's been too glorified.
Yeah, it's too glorified, such that I assume like when these kids grow up and eventually do it for the first time, they'll be like, okay. And I've seen even some of my younger cousins, or like just basically people I know, they've grown up seeing or being told certain things about sex, about intimacy, and then they actually do it and they're like, okay, and like, this is not what I see in movies.
Exactly.
This is not 365D. So
Gorilla Grip, all that.
It's not the whole WAP idea. Like, what was Cardi talking about? This is not qua ground. I mean, it's not like that's G10 positions. So there is a certain image that is exaggerated. In my opinion, I think it's it's just put out there too much. That it shows that it's the ultimate happiness, the ultimate goal. To achieve that kind of pleasure is everything. Because even like look at WAP and the lyrics there. So gobble me, swallow me, what? But you see, they've made it look like it's it. And if it doesn't happen, then were you really doing anything? You see? So we make it seem like if you don't achieve this, also while you're in it, when you're achieving intimacy with this other person, if this doesn't happen, if you don't get that WAP, then were you really doing it? You see? So that's what I think.
What do you think about cartoons changing sexualities for characters? I don't know if you've noticed that there are some cartoons that we used to watch as kids that the main characters or some characters in there have changed their sexualities or have had their sexualities changed.
I think that whoever is producing them and everything, whoever is in the production team, they're trying to make a transition from straight or like just being straight, like either you're single, dating, married, whatever, to like the example of the
stereotype.
Simpsons, the stereotype, to now accommodating everyone. I would advocate it. Not advocate. I think advocate is a big word, but I would say that's okay for like adults, cartoons, animations. But for kids, no.
But kids watch these animations. Actually, is watching SpongeBob right now.
Well, it's accommodative, and it's okay for them to see that it's possible for you to like the opposite sex or the same sex. But then again, I feel like let kids be kids. kids. Let kids play. Do what is age appropriate for them at that time. I think it's an essential part of growth.
Makes sense. I had to move here because the camera is saying I give it time to cool.
Oh, okay.
We've talked for almost an hour. I think we're still going.
What time is it? I'm not even...
Now, going back to some of the things that you think we're not really... What do you think about the politics happening right now with, let's say, do you believe there's a system behind it? Like it's being put out to be by the DP who's now acting like an opposition leader, talking, like referring to the government as they and himself as we as Kenyans.
So your question is, I'm trying to get what you're asking.
What do you think about that politics of, is there a system behind to decide who's going to be president in 2022?
Personally, I feel like with politics and with our leaders, it's like a cake. We put a 2 kg cake here, and even if I want to show you that certain pieces are for these people, at the end of the day, I feel like it's just a big cake and everyone will get to have a share of it, whether we see it or not. It's just the same way the last election we had, we were made to see like there is an opposition, but you see at the end of the day, the way we are told, these people are friends with each other. They will fight in the public
behind closed doors
for us to think that, okay, mimi ni wa huyu na huyo ni wa ule, or this person is for this other people, or this other tribe, or this other group, but sisi ni wa huyu ni mtu wetu.
Exactly.
You see? So, and even these people that we think ni watu wetu, are they really? Because like, look at, I want to look at the perception we had of Sonko, for example. And the way we thought, you know, even the kind of clownery we had when we were electing Uhuru. We thought, you know, he's the youngest president. So he'll care about us.
It didn't even.
It did even. Okay, but these were the opinions that were there, that were floated in the public. Because he's relatively younger than the other presidents. Then he cares about us. That, you know, they're so rich, he can't steal. These are the opinions that were there. Or like Sonko, you know, this guy,
it's like a hustler.
Like, so he has been through so much struggle that he will be there for us. And even like, if you look at their campaigns, they try to be assertive about this notions that we're trying to formulate. That guys, mi ni mtu wenu, mi naelewa. Look at how Jaguar sang Kigeugeu, and now what is he doing?
He's exactly.
I would just like to know what is he doing. Or like how but well, I would say like for Muhammad Ali, he's
trying also.
But he's trying. That one you can see he is trying. And with his position, there's only so much you can do. Because, you know, if you're trying to fight those above you, it becomes harder. So I would say that it's, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we think or what we would want to think. It's we've normalized it so much. We've vested that power on them so much so that it's a piece of cake and everyone will get a piece. Them, those who are in power, and then us guys are given the crumbs. And the crumbs meaning we get the bare minimum. Because there's so much money allocated for our country to progress, for the youth to progress, for employment, for
the youth don't get it.
But we barely get anything. And I say crumbs because that which we get is publicized. So that we can make it look like this country is actually doing something. You know, there's so much work. But it's just a bare minimum.
Exactly.